Because, hold on, I done put my leg up. Now you know it's finna get real. This is What School Didn't Teach Me. A podcast meant to build community on all the things school doesn't prepare you for. Hi, I'm your host, Jasmine Kiamber, and class is in session. Represent. A Tribe Called Quest, represent. When the mic is in my hand, I'm never hesitant. My favorite jam back in the day was Eric B. for president. I think out of all the songs that I posted for, like the theme reveal, I think that's my favorite song. And y'all probably already know that because of how often I repost that particular song. But yeah, I think that's one of my favorites. Welcome to the classroom. It's your host, Jasmine Kiamber, and welcome back to another episode of What School Didn't Teach Me. I don't know how you found us, but I'm glad you did. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you deemed What School Didn't Teach Me to be worthy enough to listen to today. If you're a new classmate, but like all the time, if you're a returning classmate, especially if you're an OG classmate, you know I love you down. Please don't mind this pillow being right here. Literally right before we started rolling, or right before I made this introduction, I spilled water on myself, so it's a prop now. How are y'all? I hope you're good. I hope your day's going good. I would like to know when you all listen to the podcast. So like, if you're here, let me know in the comments. Like, are you sitting at home? Are you watching it on TV? Are you like in the car and you're watching or listening to the podcast on like your commute? Do you just watch it when you're in the mood to watch a podcast? Are you studying and you're doing like a study break? I am genuinely curious to know, when do people watch their podcasts? Because I know for me, I listen to podcasts on my commute, but then I also listen to podcasts on just on a regular. So like I could be sitting down doing nothing, and if I want to watch something edifying, I will watch a podcast, especially like if I'm watching like with the Perrys or the Basement with Tim Ross. So I'm curious to know, when do you guys listen to the pod? Let me know in the comments, or if you don't already, please follow us on Instagram at WSDTM Pod. Please follow us on Instagram and on Threads as well, because I post on Threads. Y'all don't be seeing it. Y'all don't be there, but I be posting on Threads. But follow us on Instagram and Threads, and just shoot me a message, because I genuinely do want to know, when are you guys in the podcast mood? When do you guys hear me? That way maybe I can like better tailor episodes or conversations to y'all and where you're at. Yeah. 2, because at this point I'm just giving life updates. 2, I don't know how I feel about my makeup today. I like it. I'm like working on like being more presentable when I'm recording, instead of just like looking uber duper casual. Actually 2.0, my hair's done. Praise the Lord. We love the bob. The bob is a moment. The bob is cute. We love her. She's going to come back like multiple times throughout the season. However, it's nothing like getting your hair done. Now my scalp is like yelling at me a little bit, but it's nothing like fresh braids. Yeah. And I've never done the style like this before, so I really, really like it. What y'all think? But back to my makeup. I am trying to just like look more presentable when I record, just put more intention into like making sure I'm getting dressed. Like, of course, like I'm not going to come here in my pajamas, but like making sure I actually look cute. And so I've been doing my makeup, and I have been doing my makeup since September of 2023, I think, because I wasn't like a middle school in my makeup girly. I was very much a middle school trying to hide the fact that I was a girly. So I didn't learn about makeup until like high school, but even then I tried with the whole concealer highlighter thing, realized that I probably look a mess, never touched it again until early adulthood. So now I'm like learning all the things with makeup. I'm trying to find my like thing, and I think I do a pretty good job, but I also think like my makeup looks are starting to look the same. I know like that. So I think I need a new blush, because my blush is like, oh, maybe I should move the light so you can see. I moved the light a little bit, but like my blush is like burgundy-esque. It's like cute for a red. It's supposed to be like a nude-esque type of what? It's supposed to be like a nude. But then today, like I mixed up my blush and my bronzer. It was a whole thing, guys. It was a whole thing. It was not on purpose. Yeah. But anyway, it makes my face look darker nothing wrong with looking darker, but it makes my face, it does not brighten my face. It cools down my face. That's what it is. Not necessarily darker, but it does not look warm. It looks cool. Me want bright. Me want girly. Me want light. I think I need to buy a new blush. So when that happens, I'll let y'all know. What else? What else can I yap about before we really, really get into the topic of today's episode? What other updates do I have? Guys, okay, I don't know if I ever told you all, but I feel like I should, because I should start speaking things, like I should start talking about the things that are like going on. So I don't know if I ever told you all, but I am a part of this program called the Look Up program. And I actually applied for this program for What School Didn't Teach Me. So What School Didn't Teach Me is a part of their first grant. We're part of our first grant. And so this program is allowing us to do a live podcast. What? You heard me. A live podcast. So I'm planning to do a live podcast either in April or in May. So please keep your eyes, nose, ears, toes, arms, elbows out for a live. Like I'm talking about like a physical sit in the room with me. We're not talking about Instagram live. Like we're doing those because I want to do those as well. But like we're talking about like a real sit down. I'm looking at you. You're looking at me. Live podcast. And so I would love for any classmate who is in the city, is in LA, can be in LA for that time, to like come out, be there, see me, let me see you. Like I would just love to connect. So that is a new thing. And so I guess now that I've talked about it, I can talk a little more about the Look Up program. Like the program itself is for entrepreneurs and creatives who are, focusing on like digital wellness and mental health. And so What School Didn't Teach Me is a space where we create, What School Didn't Teach Me is a space where we like create a community of digital wellness. Like we are, y'all know mental health is literally my thing. So it's like, and this space is until it becomes a tangible space, it is a digital space. So we are creating this digital community of practicing like wellness tips, self-development tips, and exchanging those things with each other. So I was really, really excited to be a part of the program. I've met some amazing people throughout the program. And one of my mentors was literally like, yeah, I was watching one of your episodes and I just thought, and I was literally like, oh my gosh, you watched the pod. Cause it's like me and like, maybe it's me and like 10 other people. So that's 10 other programs to kind of hold accountable. So it's hard to like see what everybody's doing and about. But it was just really cool. Like you watch the podcast and you like it. So yeah. So Mignon, if you're watching, hey girl, love you, girl. So that's a really, really cool thing. Please be on the lookout for those things. And y'all, please, like, I was telling Mignon, one thing I really, really crave is more community and more engagement within the podcast. And so when we do things like physical live pods, when we do things like the Friday night lives, like when we do things like that, I really want you all there. I want to see you all there. I told y'all it means the world to me when you like, of course, verbally support me and tell me like, yes, you're doing great, yada, yada, yada. Like I love being able to kind of shout you out for those things. So thank you to everybody who has already like verbally affirmed me. Like I love being able to like post those things, shout you out for those things. Like I love the tangible proof that we are building a community, because it's one thing for you all to like tell me like, hey, I love that episode. But it's another thing for us to like, for you and I to actually talk about what's going on in the episode, but then for us to like talk about it like in the comments, for us to talk about it on stories, like, and I'm learning how to use that. I'm learning that like you all actually respond when I do stories, and that's really cool because I love talking to y'all. Like I love the conversations that we can create on this platform. So keep doing what you're doing. You're an awesome classmate. I love you so much. If you're a new classmate, come be a part of our community. Don't be shy. We want you here. Okay, we want you here. We ain't gonna bite you. So for all of my classmates, don't stop engaging. Don't stop building community. Don't think, oh, I'm commenting too much. Oh, I'm saying too much. Oh, they already know that I love this pod. No. Tell me, because that's what I want to hear. Yeah, I think that's it. I think those are all the main updates that I really, really have. I just came back from a trip from New York. I was in New York for a week, and that was really, really fun. I haven't posted anything from that trip. I posted like some pictures, because what do you post on your story when you're not trying to post like your face, or when like when the focal point is like the text but not your face, like what do you post? So I posted some stuff like that, but not real content from the trip, because I'm still navigating like the social media aspect of the podcast. Like, I want the social media, I'm not necessarily looking to be some type of lifestyle content creator, but I do want my the content that I put out to be related to the topics that we're talking about in the podcast. And so in that aspect, in that regard, I'm still navigating things. But so we may see some actually, y'all let me know. Do y'all want content from New York? Is that something that I should leave on my personal page? I don't know. I'm still figuring that out. So on to today's episode. So we already know the theme for this week is represent. And for the past couple of episodes, we've had some amazing guests. Like, I hope you guys have really enjoyed the guests that we've had. We've had two. We've had Siobhan Gallagher, author of Full of Myself. She's the author of some other books as well, but I have not read those books. I need to catch up. I need to get in my bag. But like, she has coloring books. She has a mailing club. If you guys have not like subscribed to the mailing club, reach out to her. Subscribe to the mailing club. Like, she's so sweet. She's such a light. She's such a bright light. And like, as we were talking about in that episode, she took such a hard and heavy topic and turned it into something that anybody can relate to. So we had Siobhan Gallagher. She was our very first guest. But then we had my friend, my homegirl, Atene Smith. She was wonderful, and we talked about like the importance of putting the me in media and some of those like iconic Black shows, and kind of the impact that had on the representation. Like, how of the impact that kind of representation had on our community. And I kid you not, when I was in New York, we were watching BET, and the only thing that was playing day in and day out was like Martin, House of Pain, and Meet the Browns. And those were three shows. I don't even think we talked about those shows on that episode, but like, when I was watching those shows back, and I was watching Meet the Pain specifically, I realized, like, I know I brought it up because I remember talking about how the girl was on crack, and they did reference that one time in the show. Like, we were past that point, but they did like come back and reference it as like a flashback. But like, I was watching it, and I was watching Curtis, and they literally threw Curtis a party for being just such an amazing dad, such an amazing firefighter, and an amazing provider. Like, I don't even think it was a retirement party. I think he was just like, we love you kind of party. And it was like, wow, like, you had this older black man getting showered with love and gifts and like recognition, when so much representation at that time was not on TV, but like in real life was, oh, all black men do is sell drugs and abandon their kids. And it's like, no, they don't. And if you just so happen to be a man who has a family who does not show up the way that they necessarily should, at least now you have this version of someone who knows how to show up for their family. So you have something to look at. Like, it just further emphasized to me how important it is for us to see positive versions of ourselves on TV. Yeah, so I really, really hope you all enjoyed those last two episodes. If you have not watched them, I'll put them over here. It probably already popped up already, because I probably already put it up there while I was talking. If you have not watched those episodes already, go watch them. You to watch them. But that's just how we're gonna do it for the rest of this season. Like, we'll have me, maybe like two guests, me again, maybe two more guests, me again. And when the week that we have the live podcast, I won't put out an episode, because I would like to focus on preparing for that live podcast. And so at that point, you're just gonna have to see for yourself. Like, that won't be on a Tuesday. That'll probably be on a Friday. You're just gonna have to come and see me for once. Come and see me for once. Yeah. So on to today's topic, because we've been talking about representation. We've been talking about different forms of yes, representation, but also like rebranding ourselves and just what kind of journey that is and what kind of journey that looks like. And I honestly have gone through I don't think I've gone through some necessarily rebranding, but I have had some recent changes that have brought some recent revelations in my life that I would like to talk about. And so I told y'all we had an episode, I think, I can't remember what episode it was. I can't remember if it was the episode about bad habits or if it was the episode It's Okay to Say No. But we had an episode where I was literally telling y'all, like, it will be a cold day before y'all see me talking about relationships on here. Like, before I am talking about, like, how to find your dream partner and da-da-da-da-da. Like, I will have to be, like, dang near married. Like, by the time we get there, I will have to be, like, on the verge of engagement, really about to get married. But we've had a conversation about like what it's like to be in a relationship and to set boundaries. My first lady came on the pod and talked about that, to kind of set certain boundaries in a relationship and kind of still have your own identity while you're in a relationship. And at the time of that episode, I was actually in a relationship. And so I was really, really absorbing the things that she was saying and making sure to apply those things in my life. But since then, I have gotten out of that relationship. And so while I will not talk about dating because I can't prove what works yet. I cannot prove what works. While I won't talk about dating just yet, I can talk about what I've learned in my single season. Because, hold on, I done put my leg up. Now you know it's finna get real. Because since leaving that relationship, this is the first time where like I've been out of a relationship and like actually been okay. Like, you know, when you get out of a relationship and it's like, oh yeah, like I'm okay, I'm cool. But then you look for another one, or like every guy you see or every girl you see, it's like, hold on, you kind of, yeah. Yeah, no, this is the first time where I'm not like that. Like, I have gotten out of relationships and been like, oh yeah, forget them. But then like jumped into the next, or like not necessarily the next relationship, but like jumped into being interested in the next person, or looking for somebody to be interested in me, right? Just to get my mind off of them or XYZ. This was the first time where it was like, I don't need to be with this person. I don't need to be with another person, but I am also not looking for attention from another person, whether it goes somewhere or not. I'm not looking for that, right? And so, yeah, so I really want to be, and so this experience made me realize how much I was idolizing romantic relationships. And I, like, you know, like we all know the 10 Commandments. Well, we might not all know the 10 Commandments. Let me not say something disrespectful like that. But in the 10 Commandments, I want to say it's commandment number 2, because I think the first one is I am a children's church teacher. I really need to know my Bible better than I do. I think the first one is like, thou shalt have no other gods before me. But the first one is like, there's only one God. I knew I was right. I knew I wasn't tripping. The first one is, thou shalt have no other gods before me. But then the second one is, thou shalt not make idols. And so what I realized is that, to me, those are kind of the same thing. But I should do more research, because there was a reason that they're like, God is so intentional. There's a reason why he separated those things. Because an idol is literally anything you put before God. So, but I guess in that sense, it's thou shalt have no idols, as in thou shalt not put anything before God, like anything, like, oh, if I love this pillow so much that I'm not willing to give it up when God calls me to a new pillow, then I love it more than I love God. But then like, thou shalt have no other gods before me, is that like, I think like, if I believed in multiple kinds of gods, then knowing that Jehovah or Yahweh is the one and only true God, like he is the Alpha. Yeah. I could be wrong. I'll do more research. Don't quote me, because I try not to misquote the Bible, and I've done it more than once on this podcast, and I don't like that. So I try to be mindful of the things that I say. But yeah, it made me realize how much I was idolizing relationships, and I never realized that I was one to do that. But the peace that God has given me, the peace that God has given me since my last breakup has made me realize, oh, the reason I have so much peace is because I am like, I am content with my relationship with Christ. And my relationship with Christ makes me not look for other things that I don't think are of Him. And it makes me not even entertain things that aren't in line with what He wants for me. And therefore, until I get the spark in my heart or the confirmation from Christ that, like, oh, you should go out with this person, or oh, you should hang out with them, oh, accept them on their offer, then I don't have an interest in pursuing it or entertaining it. Does that make sense? Because before, for me, it would be like, oh, okay, like, yeah, I'm not interested in dating this person. Oh, but they asked me out on a, like, I'm not interested in getting serious with this person and making this person my, like, boyfriend. But, oh, they asked me out on a date. Why not? You know, like, that's not even where my head is at anymore. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? And so I didn't even realize that I was idolizing romantic relationships. And I was the typical kind of girl. I was the typical girl growing up. Like, I was literally talking to Ayana about this last night. I was the girl who was watching Say Yes to the Dress on TV and Four Weddings on TV. I was the girl who, like, planned baby names and dreamed up the colors of her wedding and, like, yada, yada, yada. And, like, I had a boyfriend in, like, middle school and I thought we were going to be together forever. Like, I was that one that did kind of, like, imagine or daydream marriage as a part of her life. However, I think that desire or that letting my mind, like, marinate on that so long made me so hopeful, but, like, unnecessarily hopeful when I would meet guys or when I would date guys. Because some guys, like we're young, and so, like, some guys are just there to date. Like, some people they date to marry, some people they date to date. It doesn't matter. Like, not it doesn't matter because as soon as you put that title on, like, a lot of people are saying, a lot of Christians are saying, once you put that, like, the only reason you should be dating someone is to, like, be married to them. But I've got to come to my own beliefs on that. That's not even a topic I've given too much thought to. I just know that in the past, for me, it's like I could go both ways. I could date for fun. I could date to marry. But then, because I was such a hopeless romantic, even if I started dating to date, it would turn into, like, but what if we get married? And what if this? And what if that? And so, because I had that mindset, I've said this on the pod before, because I had that mindset, I literally would stay in relationships for much longer than I was supposed to. Like, I would end up being somebody's girlfriend for somebody that I literally was never supposed to talk to in the first place. Like, I wasn't even supposed to accept their invitation on a date. But I just was like, oh my gosh, a guy is interested in me. Let me go out. Boom, you're a girlfriend. How did you get here? You don't even know. Now you're trapped. Now you're trapped dreaming about a relationship that literally has never manifested itself in, like, what you've already seen out of this person. That was me. Why do I feel like this is important to talk about? Because I feel like that is something that a lot of my girls fall victim to. Like, guys, maybe not so much. I don't know. I'm not a guy. I've never talked to my guy friends about this, so I can't speak to it. I would love to know if that's something that you go through, though. Like, if you're a guy and you listen to the pod and you're resonating with some of the things that I'm saying, I would love to hear your outlook, because I feel like I'm so interested in, like, what the male upbringing is like. I've grown up side by side for boys, but never in a house with a boy, so I wouldn't know. Because I feel like girls, I know what it's like to grow up as a girl. I know that when I was a girl, a lot of like the traditional movies were, and they live happily ever after. You know, like a lot of the rom-coms where he sweeps her off her feet and saves the damsel in distress, or saves the boss woman from overworking herself. Like I know the love story. I was a girl who grew up around the love stories and was waiting for that to like show up in my life, and was waiting, like anticipating, dreaming about, praying for the day that I was swept up off my feet. But I think for guys, it's a little different because you all are expected to, I mean, again, never grown up in a house with a guy, but like it seems like, you know, like the action movies, the superhero movies, mostly action, like the action, the western, the this, the that, like those are more tailored toward the male eyes. Like those are what boys are expected to watch. They're expected to watch superheroes. They're expected to watch things like Indiana Jones, where there is no they're not head over heels for a woman. It's more like, oh, this woman is head over heels for me. This woman is head over heels for me, and there's absolutely no reason why we shouldn't be together because duh, you like me, girl. Not necessarily, oh my gosh, I quite literally cannot live without you. Whereas for a lot of rom-coms and for a lot of the things that I feel like were put on for me to watch as a youth were like, oh, I can't live without you, Johnny. And then Johnny would tell Sarah, like, oh, Sarah, why would we ever live without each other? So then my eyes are feasting on that versus a more individualistic, like, protagonist on TV. You know, and so like even in the environment growing up, like every guy friend that you had was your little boyfriend. Like could that be your little boyfriend? Like I literally remember I couldn't have a guy friend without somebody in my family thinking like, this is your man. Like, and if it's not your man right now, you just wait. Like, whoa, why can't I just, you know you know so yeah, I don't know. I would love to hear the male perspective on that and just what that was like for them growing up. Y'all tap in with me, let me know, because that's a conversation I would love to have. But I think it's important for us to talk about this because I know for a fact, because I've had a conversation with a lot of girls, that like we can't even have peace. We're so restless thinking about, oh, I just want somebody to love me. I just want somebody to hold me at night. I just want. And I, this is coming to my mind right now, so I have to say it. But like, one thing for me that I have noticed is, growing up, I've struggled with lust, and so we know like that's one of the sins. Like in Catholicism, I think they focus on like the 7 sins, but in Christianity, there's a lot of sins. And so one of the main 7 sins is lust. And so I know for me, I was exposed to things I shouldn't have been growing up, and so that in addition to being exposed to like these hyper love stories and watching music videos of like people falling in love, like in addition to me absorbing all of that from TV, I also was just in an environment where like we all watched the same things and we mimicked what we watched. And so I was exposed to physical affection and physical attraction earlier than anybody should ever really be exposed to that. And so physical attraction or has been a part of my mental and my upbringing for a long time, before I could even establish my true relationship with God. I had a relationship with physical intimacy. And so I think since then, and when I was developing my relationship with God, I knew like, oh, I want to practice abstinence. I know that's something I want to do. I know I want to practice purity in that area. Like, I know that's something that I want to pursue. But that was difficult for me because I was struggling with lust, and I could not figure out what it was that was fueling it, but it was there. And since having this aha moment of like, oh, I have like peace with God, I have contentment with God, my relationship with God is so fulfilling that I don't even get these same urges. And I didn't even notice. Like in the beginning, it was just like, like when people go through addictions and they're just like, oh, let's get through one day at a time. In the beginning, it was like, okay, just one day at a time for me, or like one instance at a time for me. Or like, like saying no in this one instance means that you've won today. But like at that point, after so long, it's like, oh my gosh, it's been days, weeks, months, and it hasn't even crossed my mind, or like sexual thoughts haven't crossed my mind. And I know a large part of that is I am no longer looking at every guy like, could you be the one? Could you be the one? And I know like some of the other things that has helped with that is like monitoring the music that I listen to, because baby, why are you trying to change your life, but you're still listening to Party Next Door? And I know I just sang Come and See Me from once earlier, but that's not the point. Like, have you can't even hide from it, because he had a whole album cover where he was like, where the girl, hello. So like, some of the stuff be right in our faces. Like even Summer Walker. Oh, I love Summer. She can make a banger. However, like a lot of the artists that I used to love, when I stopped listening to them, I stopped being so invested in, when is God going to send me that one? When is God going to send me my loved one? And all of those things combined, like, and of course, like watching what I watch, like monitoring what I watched on TV as well. Like, if it's getting too spicy on the show, I will skip it. Hold up. I will skip it. I'm not afraid. And literally I have a friend Dorian. Hey Dorian, I know he's watching. Hey, like I have, and he knows, like we'll watch shows together. He knows if it starts getting spicy to the point where he'll even tell me like, skip it, cuz we already know. Okay, as soon as they crawl on top of each other, this is literally, I cannot watch anymore, like, because, and not because I'm trying to get serious, because I'm getting serious about my relationship. Because I'm serious about my relationship with God. I'm serious about my salvation. So not even because. And like that is literal proof of all the things that we talked about in some previous episodes. When you set boundaries and you make that clear with people who really, really care about you, they start showing up in that way. They start showing up for your boundaries. So shout out to you, Dorian. I love you down. But I'm saying all that to say that all of those things, right? Monitoring what I watch on TV and monitoring what I listen to now affects how I see my brothers in Christ. Like, now affects how I see the males around me. Not my friends, because I've never had a crush on one of my male friends. But like random guys, like random handsome guys that I see, like now has an effect on how I see them and the light that I see them in, which then has an effect on like my actual attraction. Like, I don't feel this burning desire because I am not looking for it. Because I'm not waiting like, oh my gosh, I watched this Hallmark movie and she found love in a coffee shop, so maybe I just need to go to a coffee shop and see if somebody can like pick me up. Like, no, like I'm not, my brain is not there. And don't get me wrong, it's nice, it's sweet, it can be. Let me not, because sometimes it's unwanted. It can be nice, it can be sweet for somebody to find you attractive in a public place and to shoot their shot and this, that, and the third. But like, I'm just saying, like, the old me would take instances like that and be like, oh yeah, run with it. Me now is like, oh yes, I know and I recognize that I am a beautiful, attractive young lady. I know and I recognize that, but I also know and I also recognize that how somebody approaches me is a telltale sign for what they are looking for and what they are interested in. And if I don't, and where I meet people at is a telltale sign of the outcome of a relationship. Or like if I go to a bar, like I literally just went to a bar with my friend Ayana the other day, and like guys were talking to us. I don't ever expect, like I don't expect to find my husband at a bar. I won't say ever, because at one point in my life I was just like, I'll find my husband anywhere. No. I don't expect to find my husband at a bar. Period, point blank, period. My husband probably doesn't expect to find me at a bar. Like, why, But like, and therefore, if somebody were to approach me in that setting, I'm not looking at them like, oh my gosh, this is the one, Lord. Like, yes, this is the one. No. I'm looking at them like, wow, yes, thank you for finding me attractive. Appreciate that. I appreciate that compliment. Like, wow, that made me smile. Move along. Move along. And so I know that, not I know. Yes, I know. I feel like a lot of the ladies that I know are in some form or fashion in like this restless feeling of, I just want to be married. I just want my Romeo to swoop me off my feet. I just want my Boaz. Where's my Boaz? Where's my Boaz? Guys, Boaz died shortly after he married Ruth. But where's your Boaz? Where's your Boaz? I know that is where a lot of our mind is at, but I just want to tell you that there is real peace in singleness. Like, I know we hear it all the time. Like, yes, your single season is a blessing. It's a blessing. It's not a burden. And I know it's hard to like feel like that. I know it's hard to like feel that way, because a lot of times that statement is coming from people who are already married. But I think they be saying that because they're trying to like, it's almost like they're saying it like a precautionary tale. Like, hey, I know you want a husband. However, there are some things that you're going to want to make sure you do or take care of or get out of the way or prioritize before you have a husband. So your single season is a blessing. And I don't think they're saying it like just because singleness is a blessing makes marriage a burden. No, but I do notice in my own life that there are some like really, really cool things about being single. Like I mentioned it in I think the second episode of this season, How Do I Go For It? I was talking about how, like, I've already had the vision for when I'm 40 and have a husband, and I'm okay with, I will be okay with answering up to them. Like, yes, like a wife submit to your husband, yada, yada, yada. But like, to get to that point, I need to make sure that I'm happy where I am. Like, when I was in a relationship, because I'm a passionate woman, period. I'm passionate about everything that I do. Anything that I put my name on, I instantly become prideful of and passionate about. Cool. Not like a self-righteous prideful, but like I care about this. I want this to do well, XYZ. And so when I was in a relationship, I poured so much focus into making sure that me and this guy were okay, or making sure that, like my mental well-being was well, but also that his mental well-being was well. Like I would prioritize talking to him over maybe some of the other things that I had on my to-do list, or even prioritize talking to him over reading my Bible for the day. None of that is good. You know what I mean? And when I become a married woman, yes, it's going to be expected of me to put my husband first, not before God. Which is why I'm in a single season now, so that I can learn how to put God first before anything. But like when I get married, it's going to be expected of me to like, yes, a husband is at the forefront. Like my husband is at the forefront of my day. But like for now, where is it in the Bible? Hold on, let me look it up. I would like to read the scriptures because me and my mom talk about these scriptures a lot. So let me break it down. Because we all know. Let me stop saying stuff like that. So in 1 Corinthians, Paul literally talks about what it's like to be single. Like he has this whole thing about how he wishes that people would stay single just as he is single. Like he has this whole thing, and it's like, Paul, babe, I don't know how many people are living like you. But I also understand that Paul literally lives a life of service. Like he dedicated his life after he became a Christian, after he dedicated his life to the Lord, like he committed his life to the Lord, and therefore really did find like fullness, peace, contentment in the Lord. Like when the scripture says like stick with me and you'll never go hungry, like eat and you will never go hungry, or like I am the bread of life, through me man never goes hungry. Okay. He really like got to experience that, and that is a level of contentment that I really would like to get to. So let me see. Okay, so I'm looking at 1 Corinthians 7:32, which there's some context before then, but let me see. There's some context before then, but the context before then that really sticks out to me is like, don't search for a husband, don't search for a wife. Actually, let me see. Let me read that too. Actually, let me see. I'm gonna run it back. 1 Corinthians 7:26. So it's literally Paul, and he says, because of the present crisis, I think that it is good for a man to remain as he is. Are you pledged to a woman? Do not seek to be released. So if you're about to get married, don't try to run from that. Are you free from such a commitment? Do not look for a wife. So like, don't be out there searching for your partner. Like, find that contentment, find peace. Okay, yeah. So I just wanted to read that. But then scrolling down, scrolling. 1 Corinthians 7:32. I'm burning. Okay, yes. It says, I would like you to be free from concern. An unmarried man is concerned about the Lord of... Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I would like you to be free from concern. An unmarried man is concerned about the Lord's affairs. How can he please the Lord? But a married man is concerned about the affairs of this world. How can he please his wife? And his interests are divided. An unmarried woman or virgin is concerned about the Lord's affairs. Her aim is to be devoted to the Lord in both body and spirit. But a married woman is concerned about the affairs of this world. How can she please her husband? How can she please her husband? I am saying this for your own good, not to restrict you, but that you may live in a right way in undivided devotion to the Lord. And so my mom and I we have talked about marriage in the sense that like we are both very active in our church. We're just a part of multiple ministries. There's no reason to like list them all. Y'all already know that I am a part of, like, I'm the children's church teacher, and I love that job. I love those kids. But we're very active in our church. And so and I always say, being a part of my church, being so active in my church, quite literally keeps me out of trouble. Like, quite literally, my church is so active. Shout out to Hill City. If you're in LA, come to Hill City. Come see me. Come visit the church. We're active. We're live. We love the Lord. Yeah, come see us. But because my church is so active, there are so many ministries to be a part of and so many things to do. I quite literally am not looking for things to do. Like, I am fatigued. I am tired. I need a nap. Like, I am not looking for, oh, I want to go to the club. Oh, I want to go to this party. Oh, I want to go on a date. Oh, I want to this. Oh, I want to that. Because my life is full of kingdom things. Like, all the things that I am doing right now, I feel like I am called to do them. Like, I feel like these are things that the Lord told me, you're going to do it. And I just was like, yes, sir. And so I'm just doing those, and I'm maintaining those, and I'm focusing on the Lord's work. And therefore, filling my time with kingdom things has helped me not be so like, woe is me. I want a boyfriend. I want a husband. I want someone to help me fill my time. No, quite the opposite. It has made me more intentional about the time that I spend with other people, because I literally have so many other things I could be doing right now. If you're here to waste my time, I don't need it, right? Like, if this is, and more specifically, more faith-tuned, I'm doing so many things that are giving me peace because God called me to do them. I just need to work on maintaining and stewarding those things well, to the point where I can instantly tell if talking to you or interacting with you is going to lead to my peace being broken up. or my peace being interrupted. Or if I even get that inkling that dealing with you is going to interrupt my peace, entertaining you, if that's going to interrupt my peace, then it's easier for me to like cut it off because my life is full. And so to my sisters in Christ, to my brothers and my sister in Christ, I encourage you to like find, God is probably already calling you to do something. Steward that. Focus on stewarding that. Like, this episode is not a how-to. This episode is genuinely me wanting to share my experience with you. I don't have like in the last episode, like I had not the last episode, but in the last solo episode, I had a how-to. I had 3 tips. For this particular episode, I don't have that. I just want to talk to y'all. Like, I just want to share how literally focusing on fine-tuning my relationship with God and making sure that I am stable in that regard had that the effect that has had on my desire to be married. Because right now I couldn't even imagine it. Sorry. Like when my mom and I talk about 1 Corinthians 7, like right now we are focused on kingdom things. When the time comes, like we usually talk about it for her, but like for me, when the time comes for me to be married, yes, it'll be a time where my kingdom things, I have stewarded them so well that they can afford to be number 3 and 4 on the list. 3, 4? The number 4 and 5, because it would be like the Lord, me, my husband, or I think my husband and me would be interchangeable because we're one flesh. I don't know. I'm not married, so don't come for me there. But the things that are going on in my life can afford to be like 4 and 5, until, like I think that is just where my mindset is at. And so right now, if I want to make something of myself, if I want to be somebody, if I want the podcast to be my job, like if I want the podcast to operate on its own, if I want my nonprofit to be working on itself, then I cannot waste time is not the word. I cannot be so invested in, I cannot be so obsessive over, is this guy that just told me he likes my hair, is he my husband? Does he want it? Like, I cannot be gushing over every opportunity that comes my way. Like, every opportunity for intimacy that comes my way, I cannot be obsessing over that if I am focusing on kingdom things. And if I want those kingdom things to last, I need to spend more time with my focus over there instead of with my carnal heart, like with my flesh. Yeah, that's it. I really, really wanted, like, I have had this episode in my mind and in my heart for like probably a month now. And so I'm so glad that I finally get to sit down and record it, because when I say there is a peace that I have now that I thought I had before, but truly had never experienced until I came to the conclusion, like, oh, it was never necessarily something wrong with me. It was just I was focusing on when God was going to give me another boo thing and getting that to like numb my pain or numb this idea that like if I didn't have someone, then something was wrong with me, or numbing the idea that I need a man to like hold me at night, hug me, give me kisses, yada, yada, yada. But instead, like, and honestly, like, guys, not to be that girl, but honestly, like, that same love and affection I pour into my friendships. And I mean, we don't kiss each other, but like, we're here with it. Like, they make me feel like I lack nothing. And so if you are not nurturing your friendships, male and female, if you're not nurturing your friendships, I say give that a shot. I'm talking about genuinely nurturing, because sometimes we be having friends, but like we don't make the full effort to like connect with them and get down to the vulnerable nitty gritty. And also, don't fight me. Some of y'all want husbands and wives, but you have trouble with confrontation, and you have trouble with communication, and you cut people off at the side of conflict, and some of you want to be married, but you're not nice, and you don't know how to manage your anger. So there's still some work there too. And so I think when those those are equally kingdom things as well. God cannot trust you with a spouse if you're going to snap on them every time you get upset. God cannot entrust you with a spouse if you dating that person now means that you put off what he's called you to do. God cannot trust you with a spouse if you're waiting on them to read your mind when you really need to communicate. Like, those are all kingdom things. Like when they talk about how your body is a temple, and that doesn't just apply to like drinking and smoking, that also applies to like what you eat, your sleeping schedule, like the jewelry you put on your body, the clothes you wear. Like, it's the same thing with a kingdom thing, a kingdom work. Your attitude is a reflection of God's kingdom. How you show up, a reflection of God's kingdom. How you communicate, a reflection of God's kingdom. The things that you do in like church and how you support your community, a reflection of God's kingdom. Those are kingdom things. Those are all things that you should be pouring more into right now rather than focusing on a spouse. Now, once you got those things in order, then I feel like you could be like, well, Lord, I think I'm ready, God. But quite honestly, once you have those things in order, you become so, I can't say you become, because then like I'm not in a relationship. So like I would assume, because that's how I feel now, that you will become so content and so joyful and so prideful in these things, the things that the kingdom works that your name is on, that like love comes when you least expect it. Like in that regard, like the rom-coms did get it right. Sometimes the girl who's out there grinding, the businesswoman, the woman who's making sure she got her stuff done, and then like you got the boy next door that's like, hey, come away with me, like don't even play, like throw your work away. Like, yes, sometimes that is, like at that point love does come at the most surprising time. It does come when you're not looking for it, but you're not looking for it because you are actually focused on what God is telling you to do. So yeah, that's just my life and what I'm learning. I would love to hear y'all's take on that. If there's anybody else who feels like, yes, like I definitely feel a peace about being single because I have decentered relationships from my mind. Or even if you feel like, man, that's something that I'm working towards. Like I am working on decentering relationships, or I am working on feeling a certain peace or contentment, because while I know that I should be okay by myself, goodness gracious, I really, really want somebody. I'm open to having both of those conversations. I am interested in having both of those conversations because both of those sides are very, very valid. But I am working on how I show up in the podcast, and I am working on just like I genuinely enjoy. Like, it's crazy, guys. There was a point in my life where I didn't want anybody to know or understand me. Like, I didn't care if anybody knew like what I cared about, if anybody knew anything. Like, I genuinely did not want people to try and understand me because I did not want people to misunderstand me. And it was a lot of work to be like vulnerable and to like hope that people cared, but not being sure if people would. But now that I'm older and I've gone to therapy, like got a lot of work done, I realize how much I genuinely do enjoy sharing parts of myself, my life, my thoughts with people, but specifically on this platform. And so I genuinely do enjoy talking to y'all about just what's going on in my life and some of the things that I feel like God is showing me or telling me. And just hearing your thoughts on that, or, maybe if there's a way that you can relate to kind of the things that I'm saying. So yeah, I just wanted to share, like, this episode was not a how-to. It wasn't a nothing. My form of representation, I am representation because I am a single woman who finally has peace about being single. Represent, okay? So I just want yeah, I wanted to make sure I had this conversation. I was really eager to record this episode. I actually can't wait to put this episode out. And I just genuinely want to know what you guys feel, what you guys think about this episode. So with that being said, if you're here, if you're present, if you have ideas, thoughts, like, comment, subscribe, put the notifications on for What School Didn't Teach Me so that you're in tune for our next couple of episodes. But specifically, comment your thoughts, how you felt about today's episode. If you agree with me on some things, if you don't agree with me on some things, if you are a single person, if you are a dating person, an engaged person, a married person, I would like to read that book. Single, dating, engaged, married. I would like to read that book because I heard it's really good, like, for preparing for each stage. Like, it helps you be content and prepare for, like, your single stage, your dating stage, you're engaged, and you're married. And I think it speaks from a Christian perspective as well, but I could be wrong about that because I haven't read the book. But that might be your first 30 pages. I don't know. But yeah, like, comment, share this episode. Share this episode with your homeboy, your homegirl, who, you might have these certain type of conversations with. And then come back to me, okay? Have this conversation with me because I don't be talking just to talk. I talk so we can actually have the conversation together. I might even talk about it a little bit more on Threads and see if we can start a conversation there. So if you're not following us on Instagram or Threads, follow us there at WSDTM Pod. What School Didn't Teach Me, like, is it an acronym? So like the acronym for What School Didn't Teach Me, WSDTM, and then POD like podcast. So WSDTM Pod. Meet me there. Beat me there, actually. Beat me there. So follow us there on Instagram and on Threads. Those are the two platforms that we are on. I also be posting on TikTok, but that be like behind the scenes stuff. Not necessarily directly related to the pod. It's just fun, quirky stuff and another way for me to try to engage people here. Yeah. I love y'all. I hope what I said helps, resonates. I hope somebody can relate. And then, like, even my married people talk to me. Like, what was your single season like? And is there anything that you may have thought you should have focused on more? Because as a single person, I need to know. Like, I need to know what are some of the things that I need to be trying to live it up on before I let somebody put a ring on it. And we are focusing on marriage things. Like, so yeah, I love y'all. Please, like I said before, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, turn the notifications on. Literally, the next episode after this one is going to be with my pastor. So this episode was actually right on time because next week's episode is going to be with my pastor, and I'm so excited for y'all to get to see him, talk to him. He's going to talk to us a little bit about what it's like to kind of just maintain the faith and, like, when it comes to rebranding, representing ourselves. I know, like, some of our classmates really, really enjoyed that kind of topic, and so I'm so excited we're going to have that conversation in the classroom, just on, like, an actual play-by-play of what we should do when we are trying to intentionally, like, be more intentional about the boundaries we set with people around us as it relates to, like, showing up as a new creature in Christ, and just, like, how to, like, keep that up. Yeah. So I love y'all. Tune in for that. You're not going to want to miss that episode. And I'll see y'all next week. I'll see y'all there.